How are you?
What's that?
Not
Sick.
much. I'm excited to get back to work later this week, so I'm prepping for that and excited to do these fitness lives. So that's cool and happy to have you here as my first guest. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm flattered to be here. Excited to kick off your star-studded week.
Hey.
Got some guests I'm looking forward to hearing their
Yeah,
spiel.
yeah. Thanks. I tried to, pick from some different genres. Obviously, we've got John Novosel Jr. and Sarah White from Mach 3, and we've got Caitlin Pimentel later on in the week. So they all kind of have slightly different vibes. So I'll be interested by the end of the week to, do a little recap and see what we've learned and what everybody's products have to offer, because I think everything gives a little different dynamic. So
Right,
I
right,
thought it'd be cool to lead off with you. You have a little bit of everything, meaning you have equipment and you have workout programs. So it's kind
right.
of the total package. And your expertise comes as a PGA professional, but also a certified trainer. So for those of you that don't know Brian, he's the co-founder, owner, and head coach of Golf Fitness X, who teamed up with Orange Whip Golf a few years ago. But I'm going to have you give us the background and timeline on all that in a moment here. And they have teamed up. Sorry for my dog barking in the background. I think we have a guest coming in my house.
You maintenance
So
their floors out. So
so yeah, it's been cool to see you guys launch your full program and team up together to incorporate equipment with it and obviously the platform through Orange Whip and Golf Fitness X, and combining the two seems like a really good marriage and synergy there. So I'll have you start by, maybe telling us a little bit about how you got from golf pro to trainer, or what came first, and then, when did Orange Whip kind of come into the mix? So give us a little background.
yeah, so I started teaching. My first teaching job, I was 19 at an age cap community where it was 55 years and older was my clientele. So imagine being a 19-year-old and that's your clientele. So the big eye-opening thing for me was I didn't know a bunch about the golf swing, but I had played a little bit and I had, taken lessons from some good instructors, so I knew, about that much. But I really couldn't understand. It was kind of my first dealing with the average golfer and how difficult it was to get the information across to them that I wanted to see beyond, fundamentals, ball position that they forget anyway. So at that age is when I said, okay, there's something more to this. I got to, I have a knack for problem solving. It's just like a thing I like to do. And so that led me into fitness. I was already on the golf pro track. I was in the professional golf management program in Florida Gulf Coast. But I was basically, minoring, if you will, on the sidelines with anything I could get my hands on that was golf specific. So TPI was kind of my first avenue. And then in addition to that, to be further into that arena and be able to make further improvements, I felt like I need to know more, I need to know more. So I got my personal training certification. We moved to the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and I didn't have anything to do in the winter, so I got really into CrossFit, so I got my CrossFit certification. So I just, in addition to, you have a lot of certifications as well, in addition to things like Aim Point Express and some of those other certs, I just had this fitness drive too, because I knew, especially when I started that journey, my big thing was, for lack of a better way to put it, I wanted to train them in the morning and teach them in the afternoon, because at 20 years old, I was like, I can make double the revenue.
Right.
And that's kind of what started the journey to be able to be that one-stop shop. And, it's what created Golf Fitness X, all of the CrossFit, TPI, personal training, all that stuff. So that's kind of brought together. And then Orange Whip came into the picture extremely randomly. By extremely random, like fate almost, if you will. Never met Jim Hackenberg, never swung an Orange Whip. We got paired together in the 2018 Carolinas section championship.
Wow.
And I don't know, yeah, it was crazy. Practice round, first question on the first tee, hey Jim, what club do you work at? He's like, oh, I'm the Orange Whip guy. I was like, oh, the email guy. And he asked me if I ever swung the whip, and I'm like, no, I'm not really a training aid guy. You know, I'm really into body movements and getting people to move better. Little did I know the orange whip had a lot of that capability in it as well from a coordination side. So long story short, at the end of the round, we exchanged information, and it was kind of like I went back to mid-season grind up in the mountains of North Carolina. And about a month or two later, Jim and I, he called me, or we reached back out to each other, and I got a big box full of whips and peel, or an orange peel. And when I stood on the orange peel, that's when I really had that aha moment of, you know, trainer nerd talk, but like the glute activation, the stabilization of the posterior chain. I was like, okay, this to me is even further developed than just centering the golf swing. And that's when I just started tinkering like crazy. And long story short, 2019, we were running kind of parallel and helping each other. And we said, you know what, these things need to go together. And that's when we actually formed a new company called Orange Whip Golf Fitness X. It's creative, I know, but that's where you see us now. That's why we share platforms. So that's the
okay. Yeah, that's a journey. It's going to continue to evolve, and it's early in the game. Really, you're talking about a year and a half maybe into this thing for you guys. And I think I met you early on in that. You came to Fairfax, Virginia. A fellow pro here, Linda Gowdy, hosted at her club a wintertime seminar, and you guys came up, did a presentation. You showed us some screens and different drills and things you were using with the equipment at that time.
Right,
and
right.
It was pretty early on. It wasn't fully developed yet. You guys were sort of going to launch all the content and the website, I think, very soon after that, and the certification program. And so now you're there. Now you have the website established. All the videos are up. You're making more all the time. The equipment is fine-tuned. You've gone through a couple iterations, the straps and the belts and all of this stuff, and how the light speed came out. When did that come out? Like around the same time as the Power Peel?
Yeah. So the journey, as it continued, like you said, 2019, it was February when we came to Virginia. I think it was like 3 weeks after my second child was born. So I remember it pretty vividly, but, so I had a 1-year-old and I guess a 0-year-old at the house. They're like this far apart, but no, I remember that. That was like our first month, but the light speed, when we originally started this, I threw the whip into the workouts like right away when I fell in love with the peel. And this is before we were even partnered, but I saw such a good product. We were using resistance bands, and we had like skills trainers, and we used super speed, and those products were good. But we threw the whip into the workouts right away, and a lot of our movements, especially our power-based movements, the whip was designed to make you smoother and your tempo better. So after, I'll never forget it. I drove down like in the middle of the night, and we hammered out this light speed, and we had like 100 prototypes of it. But we just moved a bunch of weight around, and that was only going to stay with the Power Peel kit and to maintain the separation of rhythm tempo balance and then the GFX stuff. Long story short, that got found in a bag at the 2019 PGA show, and that's what led to the Lightspeed really launching before our launch, kind of with the Orange Whip Nation getting excited about the speed version. So that's where the Lightspeed came from.
Okay, got it. That's a very interesting timeline there. So, and it's all happened very fast. I mean, you figure it's really just about a year ago, all of this stuff. So
yes, I don't like to drag my feet.
Were you using all bungee cords and resistance bands and things like that anyway in your fitness programs, or what came first? Did that come first, and then you sort of brainstormed with how you could use it with the orange peel to make now the power peel, or what came first? Or did the Power Peel inspire the way the bands are strapped?
It's a great question. Originally, all of our GFX content, the proprietary pieces of it, were my instructional. So we were always training coordination, so swing improving movements, call them drills or whatever, but we always paired muscle contraction, speed of motion, range of motion, right? So the tools we used to do that we were using resistance bands originally in the regular workouts before we merged, when Golf Fitness X was its own entity. The peel, I like the base of the peel, and we started originally, I threw the resistance bands underneath of the peel. like they were coming through, like the handle sat in the base of it.
Yeah.
And Doug Wald, the COO, who's, you know, Jim's right hand guy who moves as fast as I do with this kind of crazy stuff. We, I think, bought every Amazon band kit that exists. And we fiddled and fiddled and fiddled. And originally we had like the bands coming out of the sides of it. And we bought a band kit that had 2 thigh straps. And that's when I put the belt together, and I said, and that's where the peel then invented itself. So the workouts were, you know, their format was based on coordination and fitness. And then once we got the equipment, we started to see the additional movements that we could add that were further developing based on the style of equipment we had. So it just snowball affected, right? It just allowed GFX to provide better movements and improve the level. And really our speed and improvement happens because of our tools is I would, you know, say much faster, where, you know, you did it at the PGA show. I mean, we want you to step off that peel and be moving better like that, versus a normal, obviously, you know, we're getting you to move better, but, you know, a normal fitness program, if I go run for 3 weeks straight, I might not see improvement until a month. So we have a goal to make it move fast, and the equipment helps us do that. So that's kind of where it all kept playing and kept rolling.
So my own experience with being on the equipment really was probably I watched you give the demo at Fairfax seminar a year ago or more. And then I, you know, experimented a little bit with the power peel and some of the equipment that you guys had sent me between then and the PGA show, but really having you give me the demo just this January, and then hopping on and doing some of the swing workouts of the day and exploring your site and getting the feel of, you know, the resistance and powering through some of the movements with the bands on and with the the light speed trainer. Right. I think that, you know, for me, it clicked. I got it a little bit more. When you first look at somebody on the peel all strapped in, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, what is that? It's almost a little intimidating looking.
Yeah.
And
no doubt.
But when you're on it and strapped in and you can feel it, then I think that's what clicks. So if you're out there, you know, interested, I definitely encourage you to check out the site, but definitely think about ordering a kit and using it yourself for a while. And I think what's cool is it obviously is fitness, but one of the things that you guys say, that you say, Brian, is you know, better body and better ball flight. That's one of your, you know, kind of catchphrases that you use a lot, or get fit, swing better. So the idea that we can work out and at the same time correct swing faults in the planes of motion that we'd be moving anyway, it's like you said, it's kind of a one-stop shot. One-stop shop.
Right.
It's Monday. I'm all jargon. So, you know, that's kind of cool. I never like the idea of shortcuts, but if you can minimize time and be more efficient with what you're getting out of your workouts, especially if you're already a golfer and you want to work out for golf anyway, I think this is a good solution. You know, it's going to give you a workout anyway. Like, you mix in fitness elements, squats and push-ups and other things too, especially if you go above and beyond the swing workout of the day and you do the other little workouts that add to it. So you kind of get the full body workout, but, you know, it is golf centric for sure. And if, I don't know, my question for you next was going to be, who's the person that should be looking at Golf Fitness X? Obviously coaches, you'd want to see more coaches involved, but like, you're a golfer, you're out there, you're the consumer. What kind of golfer should be looking to do Golf Fitness X? Yeah,
so that's a great question, and it can kind of stem into kind of what you were talking about before, where we use the word fitness, yes, we use the word workout, but it's really very much based around improving, like you said, body and ball flight. So with that, there's, you know, two-part. One is GFX is for anyone who touches a golf club, who wants to touch a golf club, meaning beginner golfers all the way to tour players. So the reason that anyone would benefit from this program is because the needs of a golfer, so the things we need to do to move, they don't vary in kind, whether I'm 90 years old or I'm 9 years old, right? We need to all turn, tilt, shift, segment, and put the club somewhere, right? So I don't care if you're anybody who's out there right now and they say, well, I'm working on something. it would fall into those categories, which we define as swing skills. So if all freaky passionate people about it, right? For the rest of us, it's like, I don't really want to work out today. And for me, when the switch flipped and exercise started becoming just as passionate for me as golf was, is that when I started to see that my training could directly affect my golf swing. So again, for that person who knows you need to exercise, but you don't want to, or you just can never find the time, we're also your segue into a better body and a healthier body, because you're going to be practicing your golf swing, a thing that you want to do all the time. And we're here that we're going to make your body move better with the style of workouts we have. And because we use bands, we're also low impact, right? So when you stretch or do rehabilitation, you're going to use resistance bands a fair amount. So that's the other thing why, 3 kind of pieces there on why everybody should do it, right?
Yeah. Well, so it's good. It's adaptable to different skill levels and fitness levels, obviously. So I was going to ask, and you kind of already answered it, but I'll let you say it again, is for the person out there that's, a decent golfer, but maybe is really high end in fitness. Maybe they do CrossFit regularly. Maybe they already have a regimen or a personal trainer. Like, why should that person get this program or products? And also, are there different resistance bands for the person that is stronger or is used to like a higher intensity training?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we have 3 resistances in the bands. To choose your resistance, the question is, what shaft flex do you swing? So we have light, we have regular, and we have stiff. Now, if you swing extra stiff, try the stiff first. You can always add bands to that. So if you do, so what our saying is, if you have a very high fitness level, so here's would be our scale, right? So I'm a CrossFitter, or I'm the fittest guy on earth. Let's even put it on that side of the spectrum. But I can squat 300 pounds. I can deadlift 500 pounds. But if you don't train your coordination to your golf swing, it doesn't matter how much your fitness excels, because you've got to bring the coordination along with it, right? So an example would be like, let's say you're saying, I'm a little tight and I'm trying to get more rotation. So let's say I snap my fingers and overnight you woke up and you had the mobility to create the depth you wanted in your backswing. You would hit it terribly, because I instantly changed your movement patterns overnight, right? You're going places where you've never been before. Your timing's way off. Your matchups are way off. So what we're doing is we're bringing the coordination along with the fitness, and then vice versa, right? So an analogy for that would be a super fit person with a low coordination level would be someone like we're talking about, like a CrossFitter or a D1 athlete who's never played golf. Right.
And
they've got some
just
great tools.
Being fit, they might not be mobile or flexible, So that's
in the golf
thing.
swing, very true. Yeah.
You could be strong and not coordinated, or you could be strong and not flexible, or you could be really flexible but not strong.
Right.
So there's all those different combinations. And from the golf swing perspective, you might, have good range of motion, but then you don't have maybe you don't have balance or something.
Right.
So you're tackling it from a lot of different areas, which I certainly like. So what does just go through a typical daily session for somebody logging in? They're new to the platform. Maybe, I think you guys have a free 2-week trial. So they're logging in. What's kind of like the experience they're going to get when they log in online? And maybe they don't have the Power Peel yet. Like, can they test this? Can they test it out from home if they want?
Yes. No, awesome questions. And I appreciate you asking. So if you do not have the Power Peel, you got to remember, so what Golf for the Sex was unique because, again, I designed it for ways that I could make my students move better, no matter, if I was on the lesson tee. So that was before, this whole Peel relationship started. So if you don't have the equipment, you can use a resistance band and a regular golf club. And we have a guy who is in the back of the videos, as I'll talk about the system, but we have someone in the back of the videos who shows you how to use our minimal equipment, which is just bands. It does include the belt and the light speed, but that's if you have our minimal kit. Now, if you don't have any of that and you just have a club and a resistance band, right? In our demo movement, so as we talk about the system, we show you how to do every movement. There's a video guide on the bottom. Now, you don't have to look at it if you're familiar with it, but in there, we show you how to use alternate equipment. So you can sign up for under $10 a month and flip a club upside down and use a resistance band and jump into this program where we're training that coordination and fitness. So we're training you how to move through the golf swing as your body's understanding how to and being able to. So if you don't have the equipment, you can start out small, but the equipment, as we talked about before, is a big piece of the puzzle. What my saying is I can go out and play golf with 3 clubs and I can get it in the hole. But if I have 14 clubs and the latest technology, I'm probably going to do a little bit better. Yeah. So that's kind of how our system works, is that you can get the job done without it, but the proper tools will really assist. And the thing is too, is so the Power Peel altogether, and we've got a new item that's being added to it, is about $350. So that's cheaper than like a 3-wood is right now. So we're talking about improving health, improving mobility, longevity of playing a sport, injury prevention, and finally making the move you want to for literally less than a 3-wood that you hit like 3 times a month, maybe. So that's the other side. And then briefly to just go through what you do is, like Erica said, we have 2-week free trial, log in, and we have written all of this programming for you. Okay. So what we wanted to make very easy is we're golfers. We don't have time. And we want these to be very efficient and very fast and simple to use. So all you do is log in and there's a button that says My GFX. And in there, we have programmed an entire day, that one-stop shop, around one of those movements that we're trying to improve, those skills that I mentioned before, right? Turn, tilt, shift, and things like that. So all you do is hop in there, you click on whichever program you want to do. We always say start with the swing workout of the day, where we train fitness and coordination. And from there,
I'm trying to help you out here. This is what the homepage looks like, right?
Yeah, you got it pulled up?
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, hang on, let me screen mirror real quick.
Okay, Brian's coming back in a second. See if he can do this. Well, while he's doing that, I'll just scroll down. So you can see there is an option up here for swing workout of the day, which you can just go to work out in 20 minutes. There's some extra programs that you can do, emergency 9 and so forth. Oh, here we go. I think we lost Brian. And then there's stretching. So you can kind of, it layers in these different parts to the program. So you should definitely go check it out. I think Brian's gonna try to join back in here again in a moment. I kind of, while you were gone, I just scrolled through the page so people could kind of see swing workout of the day, emergency 9, stretching, kind of how that layers in, and a little bit of what that looks like. So, so that's good. I think we can, kind of move forward with that. What, I guess what would be, let's see, coaches. That's what I wanted to talk about next. So if you're out there and you are a coach, what should coaches do to get involved if they're interested in, using this equipment, not only with their students, maybe in a fitness perspective, like running classes or so forth at their facility, having equipment at their facility, using the equipment as a training aid, which I think is another kind of avenue that coaches can look at this as. It's a way of getting somebody, on this platform with the bungees, with the clubs and the light speeds and all that, and getting them to feel something, maybe hopping back on the lesson tee. So using it on the range. Like, talk about the coaches aspect here, because there's quite a few, I think, on the call listening.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when GFX kind of originally, I was freelancing from club to club in Southwest Florida, providing the GFX kind of like a yoga class. And when I went up to the mountains of Elk River and left Southwest Florida, where I had a golf school, it started to slow down here in Southwest Florida. And that's where we realized that the program works, people like it. We need to empower the coaches to be able to provide this style of programming. And as golf pros and as fitness trainers who train golfers, we all know the benefits of golf fitness. I mean, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. But it's hard to kind of figure out you know, it took me 12 years to be able to provide it to the level at which I was providing instruction, right? So what we did is we created our certification to train our coaches in movement training in this, we call it functional golf swing training, where we're breaking into both sides of training, how coordination, how people understand how to move through the swing, as well as their bodies. So we have a certification that level 1 really breaks down those barriers. We teach you, you know, as PGA pros, you know, we do it all day, every day. We've refined it to really go after those big movements and be able to see our level of improvements go up as we use these tools to focus on improving those. So our level 1 is really for that instructor who wants to have something available for them on the lesson tee so that they don't have to keep giving that same lesson week after week after week. So what our program does is that we give you another tool in your toolbox where you can be on the lesson tee and really break into somebody's movement pattern, because you're going to go after their body and their coordination at the same time. You know, that's the big thing for me, is that as a teaching pro, our safety net is usually fundamentals, club face, ball position. You know, those things are super valuable, but it's super scary to go after a big movement pattern, right? It's like, all right, Mrs. Jones, I need you to try to turn a little bit more. It's like, you're not sure if the knees are going to start pumping or the posture is going to start getting crazy. So what we've done is we've created some tools and some methods that can really get that feel scenario going, because we've done a lot of work on the training aids and the science behind it. So again, we're just putting another tool in the toolbox. Then one step further is for our level 2 for people who want to provide GFX in person and offer it in a private or a class setting. And what that does is we not only teach you to assess, but we now teach you to assess, correct, and run this class style structure with many different styles of players, but focusing on these big movement patterns and using our programming that we write to just show up and provide the same workout we're doing online that you see me doing. You can show up and teach this class or do it in a private setting. So you now have another offering just by spending some, 2 days with us. You have another offering to increase your revenue. Also, it's being able to provide golf fitness at your facility like that from a trainer or a golf pro side. So that's what we're able to do with our coaches.
I think for those people that have learning centers and buildings or fitness centers at their clubs that they have access to, having the equipment there is, I think, maybe a no-brainer, whether it's one station or multiple stations where you have the option to do a class, but it's there. And I don't know if you like this analogy or not, but that the Peloton model is so hot right now. And so to be able to have a station where people can get on it, even if maybe they don't have it at home, they come to the gym or they come to the learning center, and when they're there before they lesson, maybe their lesson or for their practice session, they hop on, they do their 15-20 minutes. You can do it as a warm-up, you can do it as a workout, get your stretching, get your practice drills in, and then you're ready for your real golf practice session, or you're ready for your round.
So we call that the OnDeck Circle. So you show up, you as a coach, you've given your student 3 or 4, drills that you want to see them improve on, and they hammer it out before they start cold ripping 7-irons. Yep. And the other thing too is that our segue into that. So let's say I'm on the lesson tee, and I know if I could get this person's hips loosened up a little bit more, I'd see a better performance out of them. But if I bust out a resistance band and take the ball out of the equation, I'm going to instantly lose them. They're like, I'm in golf shoes, Brian. Why are you trying to stretch me in a figure 4 position? So what the peel does, the light speed and the whip, is that they continue to have that golfy vibe. And our newest product that's coming out is the belt stays on, and you have these foot straps that go around your shoes. So now literally your student is going to be ball striking the whole lesson, that's all they want. They're trying to swing thought their way through whatever they are. Right. And you as a coach, you're finding a way to kind of further break into that, because you're not handing them a kettlebell and a medicine ball. You're giving them a light speed, which feels cool. And they're standing on this piece of this concave base that's spinning them in a circle. So. Right.
So when you have the foot straps on, if that's something new, they're able to obviously leave the peel and get over to the range or on the mat or whatever and actually hit balls with the equipment on.
Correct.
With a little bit more freedom of movement.
Yeah. So these are currently in production, coming very soon. I may get in trouble for talking about it, but our concept is that a lot of tour players really like the station that we have with the peel, and it makes a lot of sense to stay at home in your home gym, you know, kind of like what's behind me. But to travel with it, it's not super awkward. It can fit in a big travel bag, but to carry it to and from the range, it's 15 pounds. If I'm traveling a lot, it's gonna be hard to do. So what we've done is, because the belt has those specific grab points, by moving it onto the feet, the strap goes around. I actually have it if you want me to grab it.
Sure, give us some.
So the foot straps, and this is a super early on model, but this goes around my foot, and then I have, you can see that if this were to connect, we can create those same tensions and pulls that we do on the peel, but now because it's it's between, you know, my golf spike and the arch of my foot, you've got assistance, resistance, and what's cool is you can put the belt on and the foot straps on to your student before you even start the lesson, and then you don't even have to transition. You just throw the bands on and they're rolling. So my theory or my comparison is, you see these little interns behind students ducking and trying to turn their hips at the same time. The club goes right over it. The bands are going to help do that without you just and you're not going to have to touch them
without taking your life in your hands, you mean?
Yeah, and you can keep, one of the things we've been saying is, you know, we have like a flaws and fixes guide, right? That's in production. You can teach a student without having to be 6 feet close to them. So if you say, hey, I want you to do drill 3 for me and go ahead and hit some shots, and then you can evaluate with TrackMan or video, and then say, all right, let's do that again, do it again, and make those adjustments. You can literally coach, because this thing can act like your hands. So it's kind of another cool piece that we've been with the foot straps. So
there you go. A solution for social distancing as we get back into our teaching and coaching here.
The kit has a lot of stuff, but it doesn't include a mask.
Gotta get an orange mask.
I'll talk to Jim Hackenberg, the Orange Whip inventor. He's probably on it though.
He's on this call, I think. Yeah, he waved to us. So that's cool. That's obviously in the works and coming soon. And you know, we had talked, you and I, about trying to do a little bit more instruction content built in with the program as well. You already do on the range videos, which are the swing drills that kind of overlap the fitness elements, but kind of building a little bit more on that side of things, and talk a little bit about how the individual screens and customized workouts look on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're obviously, you and I have got to know each other over the last couple of weeks, and super excited to kind of have that tie into, you know, your instructional background and things you're able to do with your students. So we kind of already started doing that with one of your students. Just, I didn't even know they were your student until we randomly were tagged in a text message together, and I was like, oh, he kept saying Erica's my coach, and I kind of wouldn't put two together, but yeah. So what our new teaching platform coming out with, you know, and your involvement, and we're going to get Stan Utley involved from his short game side, but what we're doing is our goal is golf, you know, we're still golf pros and fitness trainers if we're training golfers, is to improve movement efficiency. So what our screens are able to do, and with our drills and our instructors, right? So somebody like you and I have been working on some stuff where you have a student that you want to make a certain move. Let's just say one piece takeaway, right? So you're doing your coaching platform, you're providing them information and notes and videos and all this great stuff. And if the goal is a one piece takeaway, what we're able to do with Golf Fitness X is to provide some of these training models, right, that incorporate resistance, body improvement, while we're also making their move look the way that you want to. So the screening element, our screening is all based around how do you move through your golf swing. We're tracking movement, not necessarily just muscle. And what I mean by that is, it's kind of our analogy where we started with, I don't care how fit you are, if you don't know how to use that fitness to the golf swing, it's not going to apply. Vice versa, I don't care how coordinated you are, if you're limited, you're not going to make that proper movement. So our screening, it screens for movement. It allows the instructor to find the skill to improve or the things they want to improve. And then all we do is tack another layer of learning on with our functional training science. And all of a sudden that student now has a very easy to follow lesson plan like they're already getting, and we continue to improve with communication and video and technology. But now all of a sudden they can throw in just some very, minimal amount of time to, again, have that student show up where you're not having to give that same lesson over and over again. So that's how we're really working with, yes, we do drills from my teaching side, but we want to work with all coaches and provide our tools and our science of movement to further help that learning process. And that's what you and I are getting ready to do, where we're going to be offering that style of, collaboration and basically hitting it from both sides. So.
No, it's awesome. It's going to be exciting. So if you're out there and interested in getting involved with Golf Fitness X, whether you're a consumer, a golfer, a coach, how can people reach out to you, Brian? What's the best way to get in touch, to get involved and get with the movement? Absolutely.
So a couple different ways. So the Golf Fitness X social media and all that stuff, we are now one brand. So we are, Orange Whip Golf Fitness X. Best way to get a hold of me, my email is B as in Brian Newman @golffitnessx.com. You can also reach out to customer support on Orange Whip Golf or on the GFX website. And I love to hear from coaches. I love to hear from people using the program to say, how can I maximize my results? Because if we have all these great tools, from equipment to workouts to speed training. And that's what our new platform is all about, is how to get in touch with instructor and fitness trainer and so on. But yeah, social media, get a hold of me. Email's great. And I always love to get on the other end of the call and they're like, "Are you the guy on the videos?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me. Thanks for
He does it all. He does it all, including the editing.
Yeah, gosh, you got to do that. You got to do that stuff now.
You have a lot of skill sets that you've worked hard at. It's good. Congratulations on getting this far along in the journey, because it's been a lot in just a short period of time, from everything you've told us and everything I know about you. And you're working hard and you're moving fast, and new products and more programming and more content. So it'll be exciting to watch it all unfold. And just want to thank you for being on with me today and sharing your story and your information. Is there anything else you want to tell anybody?
No, I think we covered a lot of it. Honestly, less than 20 minutes a day is all you need. Just check out the site. We have our workouts posted on the homepage right now for free. So we did that once everybody got quarantined. You're obviously going to miss some pieces of it. When you are a member, you do get access to a lot more information, from demo videos to the rest of the program. But try it. I mean, for a little bit of investment, and even if you have a fitness routine, and you'll see me post this kind of content, it's so simple to add this stuff on that all of a sudden you can add your golf passion and turn it into a fitness passion like that. And you'll be really excited about the changes you're going to be able to make and how you're going to feel, how your golf body will feel. So just try it, click play, show up, and we're there.
I've always struggled with, telling people I've recognized limitations in them, or asked what their current fitness regimen is. And then, you turn them over to a trainer and you don't always know if they're going to follow through with a plan or what that plan really is. And it's great to have a team. It's great to have a trainer, you work with, but to have a little bit more oversight on what it is that they're getting and knowing that it's dialed in for the swing flaws that, they may have, I think is valuable. You're also doing the online certification. So, right, I don't think we mentioned that. If you're out there and you're a coach and you're interested in getting certified, you don't have to wait for an in-person certification. You can do it online.
Yes. No, thanks for bringing it up. So when this all happened, I was on the road every other week. We were doing our live 2-day certification. We rushed our online version to market. It's $199. You get 3 MSRs, but you get access to so much stuff from, again, you get our screening model. So the other thing I didn't mention about our screening, it's a skills test, like I said, but it actually spits out what workouts your students should do based on their movement patterns. So we train you in that assessment program. We train you in the science of it. And we have some really cool ways. You got to remember, we're training fitness trainers to be able to collaborate on coordination, because we're movement based, right? We're not saying we want a fitness trainer to be talking about lead wrist and club face and things like that, but a fitness trainer can understand that a lead shoulder needs to point down towards the ground about a club length outside the ball. And we create some really neat identification processes that we've turned the golf swing into 4 foundational movements with 5 things to look at. So we've turned them into exercises, basically. So we really have some cool ways to simplify how to attack the swing and those big muscle movements that are scary. Yeah, $199, check it out. It's a bunch of video, a bunch of content. It's simple to get through. I know you're playing with it right now. And that is my like love child. I swear I wake up in the middle of the night and work on that thing all the time. So we have some really cool stuff coming out all the time with our online cert. And then we're actually getting ready to launch our Zoom platform for level 2. So you never have to see me in person. If you don't want, I'm just going to be this video person. But yeah, we've got a new program. I think you're going to help us out in the pilot once we do get it up and rolling. But the level 2 is to be able to provide it, the class, the private stuff in person. So
one more question for you. If you're out there and you're TPI certified, which there's a lot of pros and fitness people that are TPI certified, including yourself, including me. Yes. Why do they need this? Why is this different?
Yeah, no, great question. So there is room for both. And like you said, the model that's out there to create a team is awesome. I mean, to have medical, to have trainers, to have golf pros that are all trained in the same body awareness and assessment process is great. The TPI stuff, you know, I wouldn't be sitting here if I hadn't been obsessed with their model from day one. The reason though, what we do is there's room for both, and we're really kind of the next step. If you're TPI certified, you already have a leg up because you know a lot. You've got that education that they provided, which is, you know, the best in the world at golf fitness. We're really that next step of, okay, I understand the limitation factor. My student doesn't have enough time or the financial means to go see a trainer, a chiropractor, a massage therapist, some of those other things. So me as a golf pro or a fitness trainer, I've got 1 hour to make that person swing better. And I've got to do whatever it takes to be able to do that. So if you are TPI certified, you're just going to grasp our information a little faster and be able to say, okay, now I have a product to provide in addition to the knowledge I've gained from the TPI platform. So not only do we provide you the knowledge around large movement and skill set, you know, but they're very much based towards limitations, corrections in their certification aspect. And again, we're more after the movement side. We're more after the coordination side because, again, I'm approaching it from, I've got 1 hour on the lesson tee to make Mrs. Jones hit it better without knowing she's even exercising. So we're really that next product, if you will.
You still take into consideration people's limitations and injuries and all that.
100%, right. And what we take in around that is, again, if you have a debilitating injury, what we do is we're going to strengthen the skills around that skill that you may lack. So for example, let's say let's just say you have a really bad left angle, or let's even say, you know, we have a lot of veterans that play the game, which I think is awesome. And let's say that, you know, you're missing a leg. Obviously you can't rehabilitate that. So now what we're able to do though, is that if the way we break the skills down is just like something you would potentially do on a lesson tee. So for example, if let's say I wasn't able to move to my left side, my weight shift and balance skill would suffer. I wouldn't be able to move my pressure properly, most likely. But what I could do is I can increase those other skills and have those perform as efficiently as possible to help me override my lack of ability to create pressure shift. Perfect example is when you see people who do have debilitating injuries do incredible things with the golf club. But if you watch what they do and, you know, reverse engineer it, it's because they're doing other things really, really well. So what we're going to do is if you do have a debilitating injury, we're going to improve the other areas. And then again, the other thing is if you're going to go out and swing a golf club, you already have the potential to do bad things to your body if you already have pre-existing limitations. So what we're going to do is, because again, we're low impact and movement based, and our bands are different resistances, we're just going to make that movement safer and better for you before you go out and do something silly. So we do take into limitations, but we take into coordination at the same time. So no question.
Cool. That was a great answer. All right, Brian, I'm going to let you go. We'll say goodbye. Hope everybody had a good lunch. Maybe they had a lunch break with us. I'm going to go have
We
some.
don't have a diet plan at GFX yet, so don't feel guilty. Like, you know, I think I'm doing the show training aids and IPAs. So,
There you go. Good.
Yeah. If you work hard, you know, you got to have a little reward, right?
When's your next show?
So we are, I joke around. We're officially sponsored in our 7:45 segment on Thursday nights. 7:15 though, we have a new addition. So moving to Southwest Florida, my brother-in-law, who's a teaching pro, lives literally a football kick that way. We are doing tips for sips. So we get a sip to provide you a tip for the first 30 minutes. And then we have a guest on at 7:45 where we discuss their teaching background, their experience with training aids, which is kind of funny. You hear some really wild stories, and then their favorite beverage of choice. So I think we talked about having you on, but we changed it to training aids and Chardonnays.
I'm okay with beer. I'm good.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's lighthearted. But you know how we can get a little passionate talking about the golf swing after a cocktail. So that's kind of the angle we like to take on it.
I love it. Well, guys, tune into that. Brian, thanks again for being on with me today. Have a great week. I'm sure
Thank you.
I'll see you real soon.
Yeah, nice to see you in video person today.
I know, yes.
All right, take care.
Guys,
thank you so
have
much.
A great day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, reach out to me. Thanks.